Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2001 Nissan Maxima GLE. Up front is a 3.0 liter V6, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Maxima GLE for one main reason. I haven't reviewed this generation of the Maxima before. I've done more recent Maximas and I've done older Maximas, but never this interesting transition for the Nissan brand. Nissan did not make much, if any, money in the 1990s. They had cool product and they sold well, but because of corporate mismanagement, they didn't really turn a huge profit. So in the late 90s, they had to turn to Renault as well as other companies for help to keep the name alive. And so they were pulled up by their bootstraps in the early 2000s of this era. And we'll talk about how they did that and how they should consider doing that again here in 2025. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you would like to see all of my videos weeks or sometimes months before they're released here on YouTube, you can head on over to my Patreon. It's only $5 a month, and it has exclusive audio content. But let's get back to that 3-liter V6. Well, it is a VQ engine. It makes 222 horsepower unless you got the special edition, which then bumped it up to 227 horsepower. It's not a crazy engine. It's not blowing me away. It's not anything more sophisticated than it needs to be, and that is a sweet spot that we'll mention a little bit later on. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. Now, you could find these in manual, but of course, the bigger Maxima was a more luxury vehicle, and so automatic was the most common option. Last but not least, the Maxima is front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the Nissan Maxima? Well, it's very, very average. It's a clean, simple, easy driving experience that leaves nothing to be desired. Is it crazy fast? No, but it's relatively smooth. The V6 offers great power over the inline-4 alternative, and I really like it. It's simple, it's clean, it's straightforward. It is what it is. Visibility is also great. We're still riding that high of the 1990s with fantastic visibility. And as I mentioned, the ride comfort is good enough. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my fuel and speedometer, and off to the right is my tachometer and coolant temperature. The steering wheel, we do have mode and cruise control buttons on it, but that's it. And off to the left, we do have a climate vent, our gauge dimmer switch, and our power mirror adjustments. We do have 2 dead switches, and then moving on to the door, we have the latch to get in and out, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do get a clock up at the very top. Very, very nice to see that. As well as we have 2 climate vents and our radio. It's all integrated here in the dash. I'm sure there might be some kit to put an aftermarket radio into it, but I'm sure it pissed off a lot of aftermarket enthusiasts that wanted that louder system. But down below, we have our climate controls. Clean, simple, easy to read, easy to use, very straightforward. We do have our hazard switch, 12-volt outlet, and ashtray down below, and then we have the shifter and parking brake. These are very standard. Nothing interesting here. Again, nothing in this car really jumps out at you or tries to make a statement. And again, that's clear with the shifter. We do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. However, it fails, and I assumed it would, but we had to double check. Then we have a center console and the seats. The seats are cloth. They are comfy and cozy, and I'm enjoying my time in them. I don't think that they're anything specifically spectacular, say that 5 times fast, but they do the job and they have a decent amount of comfort. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. The Maxima was a 4-door, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2001 Nissan Maxima GLE, and a couple of things to note. First of all, I fit back here. I fit back here pretty happily. My head's starting to hit the ceiling as the roof starts to slope back here a little bit. So if I sit forward, my head isn't hitting the ceiling. I do have cup holders down here as well as a 12-volt outlet, and we do have a center console with no cup holders in it because they're down there. This was a really, really nice upgrade, especially over the Sentra that was available at the time. I have a 98 Sentra video that I'll link at the end of this one, so you'll be able to see that, but it's a good back seat. It's solid. It's nothing fancy, but it worked. and that was nice. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Maxima GLE, single key here. Pop it up, and we do have some spare parts, some spare things in here, but decent amount of trunk space. We also have the Chilton's manual, absolutely love to see that, but overall, nothing too crazy here in the back of the Maxima, but definitely more space than the Sentra. Again, like the back seat, this is where you really benefited. Not only do you get the V6 up front, more space inside, but more space in the back. Overall, this was just more car than the Sentra, and that was their goal. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I like the look of this generation of Maxima. This generation of Maxima was rather short-lived, 2000 to 2003, and they even managed to fit a facelift in there in 2002, so this is technically a pre-facelift, but I like it. I think overall it's done well. This car was slid into a pole earlier on in its life. That's why the front end is rather mismatched, and I'm not surprised given the icy roads in today's conditions. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the 2001 Nissan Maxima GLE? Well, I like it. It's been a good experience, and I'm always excited to drive more mundane, normal cars that you don't see on the road anymore. It's really hard to find this generation of Maxima in your corner store lots or at the gas station or at school. You used to see them all the time, and now you don't see them nearly as much. Well, there's a reason for that. As I mentioned at the top of the video, back in the 1990s, Nissan, although they had great product, wasn't that profitable. And so they hired a man by the name of Carlos Ghosn as their CEO to lead the company to profitability. And he did. He did it. He cut extra costs. He streamlined manufacturing, and Nissan started to make money again. And that's what this car was. This car is good because it is an economy car. It's an affordable car, but the corners weren't cut within sight of the purchaser. What I mean by that is that everything in here still feels pretty good. They streamlined manufacturing by just making fewer different motors and having cars share motors. They had really simple transmissions. They kept everything simple and light. It's the theory of when you go to Chipotle, if you want to save money, just don't get the guac. We all know it's extra. Don't start only doing a half portion of rice, a half portion of steak, and no utensils. That doesn't make sense. Start cutting it where access already was. Modern Nissan doesn't have their bread and butter down. Their engines and transmissions just aren't very good. So when you don't have a sturdy base, you can't build upon it. Well, this car had a very sturdy base of the 3-liter V6. It had a sturdy base of that simple 4-speed auto. There is a way to cut costs without necessarily cutting quality. And that's what 90s and 2000s Nissan was good at. But as we moved into the 2000s, Carlos Ghosn overstayed his welcome. And when things were cut, they were cut with the promise that they would return several years later, but they never returned. It's the mortal sin of every big company. Hey, we're gonna charge a little bit more now to then save in the back end. But the back end never comes. I saw a great post the other day that said, if paying your grocery store attendants raises grocery prices, then why hasn't self-checkout lowered them? That's the kind of philosophy that needs to be put into place. And in the 90s, Nissan was good at it. But today in 2025, not so much. I also want it to be noted that despite this car's appearance, it's still on the road. Can't say that about the modern Nissan products. I don't think that they will still be on the road 24 years later, but this is. So hate on it for its looks all you want, but it's here, it's present, and that's what matters down the line. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Nolan for letting me borrow his Nissan Maxima for today's video. This car has been in his family since new and was owned by his great-grandmother, his grandmother, his mom, and now him. So, it might not be the most elegant family heirloom. It's a family heirloom nevertheless, and I appreciate him letting me take it out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.